Before we get into today's show, I want to thank everybody who joined my first holiday giveaway. But in case you missed it, don't worry, the holiday system is not over. We're just getting started. Go to winlarry.com right now. I've got another giveaway waiting for you. This Christmas, we are proud to give you something I know many of you have been asking for. That's right. For the very first time ever, we are giving away a full subscription to the Epoch Times. You'll get a weekly print paper delivered to your door, plus access to all the Epoch Times digital content, including Epoch TV, where you can watch my full 1-hour show without censorship. I promise this is going to be one of the best gifts you'll ever get. Besides, what's a better way to celebrate Christmas than having a reliable source of honest news delivered right to your door? So what are you waiting for? Just go to winlarry.com right now. I will announce 3 lucky winners live on my show on December 23rd. Do not wait. Well, the Supreme Court has temporarily blocked the lifting of Title 42, which was used by the Trump administration to declare a medical emergency to prevent illegal aliens from entering the country en masse. And remember, it was the Biden administration that filed a lawsuit in order to get Title 42 lifted. And also, let's remember that during the debate, Biden said there would be a surge on the border and that asylum seekers would be welcome.
I would, in fact, make sure that we immediately surge to the border. All those people are seeking asylum. They deserve to be heard. That's who we are. We're a nation that says if you want to flee and you're fleeing oppression, you should come.
But ABC News is blaming anybody and everybody other than Joe Biden.
The Texas border is wide open, and ABC News trying to blame anyone and everyone except Joe Biden for the disaster. Outrageous, but listen.
You talk about the border wall, you talk about open borders. I don't think I've ever heard President Biden say, we have an open border, come on over. But people I have heard say it are you, are former President Trump, or Ron DeSantis. That message reverberates in Mexico and beyond. So they do get the message that it is an open border, and smugglers use all those kinds of statements.
It was known from the time that Joe Biden got elected that Joe Biden supported open borders.
Nobody is saying it, just you guys. Okay, Martha Radditz, let's do this again.
I would, in fact, make sure that we immediately surge to the border. All those people are seeking asylum. They deserve to be heard. That's who we are. We're a nation that says if you want to flee and you're fleeing oppression, you should come.
Now, is this the same Martha Radditz to whom an illegal alien crossing our southern border told her he would not have attempted to cross the border had Donald Trump been reelected? Is that the same Martha Radditz?
You have tried to do this when Donald Trump was president?
Definitely not. Definitely. We had the chance, the same violence that's going on today was there last year. We used to watch the news, and I definitely won't do this.
So did you come here because Joe Biden was elected president?
Basically.
Hello? Is this thing on? As many as 5 million illegal aliens have entered the country since Biden moved into the White House. And the lifting of Title 42, when it happens, will make things on the border substantially worse. Some illegal migrants were on the terror watch list, and those are the ones we captured. Lord knows how many entered the country without having been intercepted. Sex trafficking, fentanyl, the cost of housing the illegals, the cost of medical and education benefits, the threat to national security. That there aren't more people marching on Washington with pitchforks is a testament to how little the rest of the country is aware of this. If we've learned anything from the Twitter files expose, it's that much of the country is ill-informed by design. But not to worry. The president tasked Vice President Kamala Harris with the job of getting to the root causes of illegal immigration.
Just a question on migration. The president tasked the vice president with studying and working on the root causes of some of these issues. I'm wondering if there's any update from this side of the White House on what she's been doing and what she will continue to do as we're expecting an influx at the border after Wednesday.
As you know, the president appreciates the partnership that he has with the vice president. You're right, that has been her charge to work in a diplomatic way in finding the root causes of migration. Don't have anything to lay out specifically on what that work looks like, but again, we appreciate her partnership, and I would probably refer you to her office on anything specific on the work that she's doing.
In other words, she's done nothing. Years ago, Peter Kirsanow of the U.S. Civil Rights Commission talked about illegal immigration's cost in loss of jobs and decreased salaries of American workers, a burden disproportionately shouldered by Black and brown workers living in the inner city, those with high school or less.
Professor Briggs testified before the Civil Rights Commission. We had a whole host of people testifying before the Civil Rights Commission. The one cohort, the one demographic in the United States of America most harmed, most palpably harmed by illegal immigration are Black Americans. And politicians, open borders politicians know this. They know this because there have been numerous hearings before Congress on this. I've testified at a number of these hearings. George Borjas has testified at a number of these hearings. Stephen Camarada has testified, and we've presented all of this evidence, all of this data, that the pernicious effect of illegal immigration, of open borders, has had on Black Americans in terms of employment. Nearly 1 million fewer Blacks work today because of the competition from illegal immigration than otherwise would be the case if we had a secure border. And it also depresses wage rates by a tune of $1,800 a year. George Borjas estimates that the depressive effects of illegal immigration on wages is anywhere from $99 billion to $118 billion annually, cumulatively, but it has the most significant effect on the Black community.
And here's a report filed by Fox's Bill Malugin on the impact of the borders once Title 42 is lifted.
Eric, I can tell you those illegal crossings are absolutely nonstop here in Eagle Pass, and that's with Title 42 still in place, and we'll show you some of that. Been a busy day out here. Take a look at this drone video we shot here in Eagle Pass earlier this morning when we had another massive single group of well over 100 illegal immigrants crossing into Eagle Pass here. This was the fourth day in a row that we have seen these big groups of more than 100. Every day for the last 4 days around 11 o'clock in the morning here, we'll see these big groups crossing like clockwork. Today we saw a cartel scout on the other side taking a peek at the river before that group came across 30 minutes later. But certainly this wasn't the only group. We talk about how we see it every day. Take a look at this video. We saw this big group of about 150 illegal immigrants crossing on Friday. Again, same exact thing, same location, same time in the morning. Most of these migrants crossing here have been from Colombia, Venezuela, and Cuba, and Border Patrol actually reported that just in the last week they've had more than 8 of these single massive groups crossing here in Eagle Pass. It's putting a huge strain on Border Patrol's resources. They don't have the manpower to process all these groups, so they got to call in agents from elsewhere. And you hear me say it like a broken record, but it's an important point. That just leaves gaps elsewhere along the border where cartels can push drugs and runners through. The mayor pro tem of Eagle Pass, a Democrat, not happy about what's going on. She wants Title 42 to stay in place, and she says it's just causing too many issues for their city. Take a listen.
As a council person, we get phone calls as in, what are y'all going to do about all these people that are walking the streets? And what are you going to do about people that are staying here and that? That's beyond our control. We don't do that. We do local business. This is federal.
And Eric, late this afternoon, we just learned of an unprecedented deal that was reached between the state of Texas and the Mexican state of Coahuila last night. That's the state directly across from us here in Eagle Pass. What we're being told is that the state of Texas is going to start providing razor wire to Mexican authorities so they can beef up border security on their side of the border. I'm told the Mexicans are going to be coming here to Eagle Pass in the coming days. The Texas National Guard is going to train them on how to deploy the razor wire. Then they will take possession of the wire, go back into Mexico, and start constructing it along their border. I'm told this is the first time something like this has happened.
Absolutely outrageous. I don't think I've ever seen an administration, and I've been following elections for a long time and politics for a long time, so blatantly and so flagrantly lie as does this administration. Here's what the press secretary said about why we have this border crisis.
But look, we also need Congress to act. It is important that they deliver the resources we requested for the border security and management. They need to pass the comprehensive immigration reform that we have put forth. On day one, the president put forth a comprehensive reform plan that dealt with protecting for dreamers, cutting down the asylum buildup that we have been seeing, especially because of what the last administration did, and they completely gutted the system. And we know that this has been a multi-decade long problem. We need to modernize the system, and this is something that the president has put forth, and we are looking for Congress to act. We are asking Congress to act. But again, we have done the work from this administration by securing record funding, and we are asking Congress to act. We are not asking for political stunts. We continue to see political stunts from many Republicans out there, and that's not how we're going to fix this issue. They want to secure the border. We've been doing that work on our own. And we're asking them to, hey, you know what? There's an immigration reform plan that the president put out on the first day. They should work with us and do this in a bipartisan way.
Wow. Joining me to discuss this is Brandon Judd, National Border Patrol Council President. Brandon, it's all because of Donald Trump and these dastardly Republicans that we're having this crisis on the borders.
Larry, I'd first like to start by saying that was very comprehensive. That was an extremely good way to show exactly what's taking place on the border today. You covered it from A to Z, but the two things that stood out to me the most was what Martha Radditz said. When you look at this, the media is supposed to be the watchdog of the government. They're supposed to be telling the American people exactly what's going on, why things are taking place, so that the American public is educated and they can develop their own opinions. But when you have the media that is constantly covering for this administration, there should be no doubt in anybody's mind why they're doing what they're doing. Martha knows, Martha understands that cartels don't listen to rhetoric. They never have listened to rhetoric. What they do is they watch for actions. They look at the actions of an administration. When the policies are bad, that's when you see chaos on the border. And the policies are so bad that we've never seen anything like this before. Because of these policies, this is the reason why the cartels are generating so much profit. That's why they're crossing so many people. They're able to go throughout the entire world and advertise their services. And once they advertise their services, they convince these people to give them thousands of dollars to make it to the U.S.-Mexico border. And when they do that, they flood our resources, pull our agents out of the field. And when they pull our agents out of the field, that's when they cross our higher value products. That's what Martha should have been looking at. Martha should have been looking at the protection of the American people. We have had more overdose deaths since Biden has been in office than in the history of the United States. And it all starts with illegal immigration and border security. And if we don't get that right, we're going to continue to have deaths. And then, of course, you go to the deflection. You go to the propagandist herself, Karine Jean-Pierre. When she talks about we need more resources, the only thing that money is going to do is it's going to allow us to process people through the system faster. And when we do that, that just encourages more people to cross the border illegally. What we have to have is we have to have policies, programs, and operations. And if we had those, we would be able to secure the border. And by the way, the policies, programs, and operations, they don't cost the taxpayer a penny. This should not be something that the taxpayer should have to shoulder. This is something that this administration could solve tomorrow. They just don't have the political will to do it because their base wants this chaos to continue on the border.
What's this? Larry Elder holding a pair of MYPILLOW, my slippers, in his baby brown libertarian fingers? I sure am, right there. And not only does it come in this beautiful tan, it also comes in other colors. And believe it or not, other styles. So in case you don't like this one, you have other options. Just call the number on your screen or go to MyPillow.com, promo code ELDER. And don't forget the Mac Daddy of them all, the MyPillow, or is that redundant? Comes in different shapes. It is so luxuriant, so comforting to sleep on. It's like sleeping on a cloud. I've never slept on a cloud, but that's kind of a metaphor. Call the number on your screen or go to MyPillow.com, promo code ELDER. And this, of course, is a 6-pack of MyPillow towels and hand towels and face cloths, or so known in the UK as flannels. Different colors, MyPillow.com, promo code ELDER, or call the number on your screen. Finally, what's this? This is the Giza Dream bedsheet, made from the finest cotton in Giza, and I'm told by Bolus on my staff that Giza is in Egypt. Don't say in an area near Egypt called Giza. Giza is in Egypt. He called me geographically illiterate. I wasn't happy about that. So these come in different colors. Mine, of course, is white because, after all, I'm the black face of white supremacy, but you're not, so you may want a different color. And, of course, different sizes because, after all, beds come in different sizes. Call the number on your screen or go to MyPillow.com, promo code ELDER. Brandon, answer the question I asked during my monologue. Why is it the American people are not marching on Washington with pitchforks?
because they don't know what's going on. I travel throughout the United States, and I am always amazed that there are so few people that understand what is taking place on the border. And the reason that they don't understand it is because the media refuses to cover it. The only time that we actually get coverage on this is when somebody like Eric Adams, the mayor of Chicago, of New York City, when he says something, he unwittingly becomes the voice of border security, and he's recognized that, which is why you don't hear him say anything anymore. But when people like that say something, then the media is forced to cover it. And when the media is forced to cover it, then people can understand what's going on. But because it doesn't happen enough, the media refuses to call out this administration, and that's why the American people don't understand what's going on.
Brandon Judd, you are now in charge of immigration. You've now been appointed Secretary of Homeland Security. What does Brandon Judd do?
So I could even operate within the parameters of this administration. I wouldn't, but I could. If I was in charge, if I was Secretary Mayorkas today, what I would do is I would hire a lot more immigration judges. I would challenge the Flores decision, therefore, which would allow me then to keep everybody in custody pending their asylum or deportation proceedings. And because I would have the immigration judges, I would hold everybody in custody pending that asylum or deportation proceeding. That would allow them that voice. That would allow them the chance to make their claim for asylum here in the United States. And if they didn't have a legitimate claim, they would immediately be removed. And that's the way our immigration system is supposed to work. But if I was actually going to do it right, and if I was thinking about the taxpayer, I would re-implement the Remain in Mexico program, and I would send people back to Mexico pending their asylum or deportation proceeding. And I would do this because it's humane. Our own State Department, Joe Biden's own State Department, has certified Mexico as a safe third country. In fact, we even have a treaty with Mexico as a safe third country. And if it is that country that we have certified them to be, it would be perfectly fine to send these people back to Mexico pending their asylum or deportation proceeding. The problem is if we release people into the United States, if we reward them for violating our laws, they're going to continue to come. And that's what the administration is doing. So we've got to get away from that. That's what I would do. I could even work within his parameters, but I wouldn't. I would go back to what President Trump did that was so successful.
Brandon, during the debate, Joe Biden talked about us welcoming asylum seekers. By definition, the overwhelming majority are not eligible for asylum. They are economic migrants. They're not fleeing persecution for religion or because of their ethnicity. They want jobs. However you feel about that, that is not the basis for asylum.
No, it's not. And the other thing is, all we have to do is look at what countries around the world do. Developed countries, what they require is they require anybody that wants asylum in their country to seek that asylum in the first safe third country that they come to. And the reason that they require this is because asylum is not about economic opportunity. It's about your own personal safety from persecution. So if these people really were concerned about what's going on in Venezuela, Honduras, Nicaragua, they would claim asylum in Mexico as they arrive to Mexico, because Mexico does not have those persecutions that would qualify under asylum. But they don't claim asylum in Mexico because all they want is the economic opportunity. That's why they're coming to the United States. And like you said, that is not a reason for asylum. Economic reasons is not. Otherwise, we would have the entire world here in the United States.
Brandon, how does Secretary Mayorkas, under oath, look you in the face and say the border is secure? How do you do that?
He's flat out. He's flat out lying. That's what we see from this administration. If they're not deflecting, they're lying. And it doesn't just come from the White House press secretary, whether that's Jen Psaki or Karine Jean-Pierre. It's everybody within this administration. They flat out lie, but they do it because they know they're not going to be fact-checked. And if they're not fact-checked by the mainstream media, that lie becomes the truth. And that's how they're constantly getting away with what they're doing.
Mm-hmm. Brandon, finally, let's talk about the 5 million people we estimate illegally who've entered the country since Biden has taken place. What do we do about them? How do we get them out of the country?
Right now, what we're seeing is we're only expelling about a third of these people under Title 42. So that's another thing that this administration has made a farce of. Title 42 was supposed to be applied to everybody, no matter where they were from in the world. But the Biden administration has given too many carve-outs to too many people, and because of that, we're getting floods from people from those countries that he's given a carve-out to. Those people that we cannot expel under Title 42, we're releasing into the United States. So we've apprehended 5 million people crossing the border, and we've ultimately ended up releasing into the United States nearly 3 million of those. And then on top of it, we've had 1 million, a little bit more than 1 million gotaways that have been able to enter our country illegally, evade detection, and get away from apprehension. That means we have added, just since Joe Biden has been in office, we've added 4 million illegal border crossers to our population to date. And that number is just going to go up. Once Title 42 goes away, we can expect those numbers to go up to 8 million. So by the end of his 4-year term, we could have 12 million illegal border crossers in the United States. And once they're here, they're never going anywhere because ICE doesn't have the resources to find them and deport them after they don't show up to their court appearances.
Brandon, Judd, thank you so much for that. Please stay in touch. We'll check back in with you later on. You can always leave a message. 888-971-7243, 888-971-SAGE. Again, make sure it is under 59 seconds, and por favor, no profanity. I am Larry Elder. This has been the Larry Elder Show, and remember, we've got a country to save.